Welcome to the 25th installment of ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Talk Story. I'm your host, Tiff Wells. With me today is the head coach of the beach volleyball program. She's the associate head coach of the indoor program. She's UH's first four-time All-American, and she's also a Hawaii Sports Circle of Honor inductee. None other than head coach Angelica Ljungqvist. Coach, welcome to Talk Story.
Thank you, Tiff. It's so nice to see you again. I missed seeing you in the arena this last fall. And I know you always carry my magic markers, so I've missed that.
It's been, as everyone has said, it's been a year unlike any other, and it's good to have you with us, Coach. But first off, before the pandemic hit, did you know what Zoom was, and how good are you at Zoom now that we're about a year or so into using this?
I had no idea what Zoom was before COVID hit, but definitely had to become friends with it real quick. During the fall, we had weekly team meetings with the beach team on Zoom, so it's obviously a great tool, but yeah, it's funny what a difference it has made for everyone.
Who do you think is more tech savvy, you or head coach Robin Amo?
Well, it's definitely not me. Like, I lose that contest with anyone. So you can name me and anyone, and I'll lose. So.
All right, Coach. So we'll kind of get back into your background. What got you into volleyball?
My older siblings, first of all, because I have two older brothers, and they both played. And it was just in the place where I live, one of the suburbs to Stockholm. Volleyball is a really big sport. So it became kind of natural to start. Had I lived like 10 minutes different direction from where I was, it would have been basketball, because basketball is huge just in the neighboring community. But lucky enough, volleyball was the big sport where I grew up.
You mentioned Stockholm, but your hometown is Vallentuna. For those that haven't been to Sweden, specifically your hometown, can you describe for us what it's like?
Well, Vallentuna is just a suburb, like 25 minutes out of Stockholm, north of Stockholm. Was a great place growing up, smaller community, a lot of sports, and a lot of sports available to us growing up. So we kind of got to try everything, which was great. And then, like I said, volleyball is a really big sport there. And it's funny how many players from that little town have gone on to play, professionally and on the national team. And the two players who played here at UH before I came, we're all from Vallentuna, so it's kind of funny.
Besides volleyball, what other sports? You mentioned your siblings. What sports did all of you folks play growing up?
Well, okay, all together we had volleyball. Obviously, all of us played. We're four siblings all together, so I have a younger sister too. Volleyball was like the one we all stuck with, but otherwise we played. Do you call it table tennis or ping pong? What do you call it here in the States? Table tennis? Ping pong?
Either or. Ping pong.
Tennis, badminton, handball. I loved handball. One of my brothers played a lot of soccer. My sister did track and field as well. So it's kind of pretty broad on the sports spectrum.
When did you realize that volleyball was going to be your sport? And were you always a middle blocker?
First of all, no, I was not always a middle blocker. All through juniors, I played outside. That's kind of where you get set the most. So I did get a lot of swings. But then when we have different high school years in Sweden. So when I was done with 9th grade, which would be freshman year here, and going into my sophomore year, then I started playing with the top team, the senior team. And they made me into a middle blocker. But up until then, I was always playing outside, and throughout my high school, when I did play juniors, I was still playing on the outside. And it was exactly that time when I started my sophomore year, when I started playing with the top team, that's when I made the decision. I played handball up until that time, but then it became way more serious, so I had to kind of choose at that point.
What did you know about the University of Hawaii before you learned that they were interested in having you come and play for UH?
Malin Franson, who played here, was a good friend of mine, and we also played together on the national team back home. It's pretty funny. She was actually also my coach when I played juniors, so we go way back. But so I knew only what she had told me. She just said that it was a great place to play. and that I had to take the opportunity to go. And other than that, I didn't really know much, so I had no firsthand knowledge of college and college sports and volleyball here in the States or volleyball here in Hawaii.
Was it a culture shock coming from Sweden to Hawaii, and how did you feel so welcomed in as a freshman?
I don't really think it was a culture shock, actually. That might sound strange, but I think that's kind of what sports does. It just, because coming in as an athlete playing a team sport, you get an automatic community and friends and teammates. And I was fortunate enough to play with many local girls here too, who also had their family support around them, and they kind of also included me in that. So, and that's the one thing I keep saying. This place, obviously beautiful beaches, beautiful weather, but the people here is what makes this place really, really special. And that the aloha spirit it's real. It really is. And coming halfway around the world, not knowing anyone, not knowing anything, and just feeling so welcomed and people taking care of you. It's very special.
Your freshman season, you played at Plum Gym. Do you have a fond memory of that facility? Because you pass by it almost every day when you're on campus.
I love Plum Gym. Do I have a fond memory? I have so many fond memories from Plum. And I'm actually, I gotta say, honestly, I'm so glad that I did get to play there. I feel like I got the best of the two worlds. I got to end the era in Plum Gym, and I got to, start the new era in the Stan Sheriff. And yeah, obviously my first game was in Plum Gym. My first game as a Rainbow Wahine was in Plum Gym. As always, Auntie Mary met us outside, and she had always seen a rainbow. She said, oh, I saw a rainbow today. And then she would pray with us, and then we'd walk in. And this place was just, for those who haven't been there, obviously just a hot, boiling, I don't even know how to describe it. Loud, hot, sweaty, and people sitting, almost onto the court. And it was just such a great home court to play at.
Such a great home court advantage. You mentioned the sweatbox that was Plum Gym. You move over to what was then the Special Events Arena midway through your sophomore year in '94. Do you remember that first match and just sort of what it was like being on the floor in a facility that had over 10,000 people?
Yes, Tiff, I remember that night. It was amazing. It's one of those games that you'll never forget, because obviously we always had great, support, a lot of people in the stands cheering us on. But that night, when they had done all the festivities before our games, meant like the arena was already packed. Everyone was already there. So when we're running out of our tunnel, we have 10,000 plus just cheering us on as we run out for our warm-ups. And, usually it fills up gradually, but that feeling right there that was magical. It was electrical. It was very, very cool. And I'm so happy that we got to play the inauguration game. That was amazing. Very, very special. So yeah, glad I got to be part of that.
Your pepper partner for your 4 years at UH is now the head coach of the indoor program. We're talking about Robert Amo. To go from being pepper partners to now being on the same staff on the indoor side, has it come full circle? How cool is it to still be working with Coach Robin?
It is very special. It is very cool. And yes, I'm just confirming like all you said. And yes, it's also a sense of kind of coming full circle. And it was funny because first practice, double days in '93, we just kind of end up being the last two. We're like, okay, let's pepper, all right. And then we ended up being pepper partners for 4 years. And obviously playing together all those years, you build this special bond. So it's definitely special being back together, still representing UH, but now as coaches. And yeah, we get to continue doing what we love.
To play for the great Dave Shoji, what was that like?
What was that like? It was great. I'm so grateful that I had Dave as a coach. He taught me a lot in so many different ways. And I'm proud to have been, part of his big legacy for short time. But very grateful, first of all, that he gave me the chance, because he didn't really, I guess, stories have come up afterwards that he wasn't really sure who it was on the tape that he watched. So he kind of took a chance on me, which obviously I'm grateful for. But yeah, very grateful for everything he taught me, volleyball and life.
Food-wise, is there something from back home that you miss that you cannot get here in Hawaii?
Yeah, Swedish butter. Sorry, that's easy. Swedish butter, some breads, but it's okay. I get poke here, and that is not as good back home, so it evens out.
So that was gonna be my next question, was what can you get here that you can't get back home? But you just answered it. What's the kind of poke that you're gonna be going and getting?
What kind of poke I get here?
Yes.
Oh, I get the kind that's not so good for you because I like it a little mushy, but it's okay. I love it.
After after you graduated, you went to go and play professionally overseas. Where were all the places that you went to play for?
I played, I'll give you the countries because, I started playing, my first year was in Brazil, and then after that I went to Turkey, and then I spent 4 years in Italy, then I went to France, and then I went back to Italy 1 more year, back to France 1 more year, and then I ended my indoor career playing in Japan 1 season before I played beach volleyball.
To be a part of the Swedish Volleyball Federation for a time as a board member, what sort of experiences, what did you learn about being a member of this federation?
I learned a lot. And I think the one thing that sticks out when you ask the question is I learned that it takes a long time to make a big organization change or turn around. It takes a really, really long time. So it was, for me personally, challenging. And this is not a critique, that's just how things work. But coming in, you kind of have fresh eyes and you want to do all these things. You think you're going to be able to change things and, have a big impact on things, but that's not always how it works. It takes a long time.
Last one here before we take our break, Coach. It's something for any program to represent the state, be a part of any team here at UH, but also for you to represent Sweden, both as a player and now as a coach. What does that mean to you?
To me, as an athlete, that is the absolute highest honor that I can do, to pull on my blue and yellow jersey and that I get to represent my country. It means the world to me, from the first time I did it until the very last time, to wear those colors and to see my flag up in the stands, and something that I'm very proud of and grateful that I've gotten to do.
Coach, we need to take a break right here, so stay right there. Along with head coach Angelica Ljungqvist from Rainbow Wahine Beach Volleyball, I'm Tiff Wells. You're listening to ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Talk Story. Welcome back to episode 25 here of ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Talk Story. I'm Tiff Wells, along with the beach head coach of the UH women's program, Angelica Ljungqvist. Now, Coach, December 10th of 2020, folks find out that fall sports in the Big West Conference, they were not going to be played in the spring. This after hearing in the later part of July that it was going to be postponed. To hear that there was going to be no indoor volleyball this season for such a proud program, what were your thoughts when you heard this news?
It's heartbreaking. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. And obviously, the decision had been made to postpone the season back in the summer, but that was still just being postponed, and we had the hopes of playing. And we finally get back in the gym in the fall, and we work hard. We have our full opposite training sessions in the fall that we usually have in the spring, and thinking we're gearing up and preparing for a season in the spring. And then, heartbreaking. And my heart goes out to the girls that, have been doing all that training and wanting to play, and it's taken away from them. And obviously, very hard to watch everyone play on the mainland right now. And we're not. So it's really, really tough. It's really tough.
Midway through August of last year, it was announced that you were going to be the head coach for the beach program. How busy have you been being the indoor associate head coach, but now adding a second job, if you will, as the beach volleyball head coach?
It has been pretty busy. but I'm enjoying it. And obviously right now with indoor not having the season, I guess that's the only tiny little positive that I can get out of that, is that it does free me up a little bit more for beach. But I kind of had like an all master plan all figured out how it was going to be run, and I would have preferred to be a little bit busier still, and having both teams compete in the spring.
You inherit a team that last year went 7-2. They were in the top six in the nation before COVID hit. What have you liked about the group that has returned here in 2021?
What have I liked? What have I not liked about them? They are a great group of young women. They are extraordinary on the court and off the court. They work really, really hard. Obviously, we lost some big players from last year, so we're kind of regrouping, and obviously things are, getting mixed up a little bit, and we have some indoor players who have joined the team now, who are also in the mix. But it's been great getting to know them, like I said. And in the fall, we weren't able to practice, so we've been playing kind of catch-up game here in the spring, trying to get as much out of every practice that we possibly can. And I'm sure you're aware too, the official beach season has already started at the end of February, so we're late getting into it, but finally next week we get to get out there and compete.
How tough was it? The two-part question here, Coach. How hard was it to kind of sit on the sand, if you will, while other teams are out there competing? But then also, how tough was it to make a schedule here for 2021?
The scheduling has been a challenge, I think, for sure for everyone all around, but I think maybe even more so for us, being that we are in the middle of the ocean and people are more reluctant to travel far this year. So Evan has done a great job getting the schedule. He's done most of the work on the scheduling, and so I got to give him credit for that. And together with admin being able to get the schedule, and we are very happy with what we have. It's a shorter season, but under these circumstances, we feel grateful that we get to compete, number one, and we're happy with the schedule that we have in place. And what
have you been able to?
I think.
And then just the other question was just, as you folks were waiting to see if the Big West was going to play, and then as you're trying to make that schedule when you knew that spring sports are going to happen, watching other teams compete, what have you been able to take away from watching competition so far?
Well, obviously you want to get as much competition as you want. At the same time, being that we didn't have a fall, we've also made good use of that time, so hopefully the extra time that we've gotten to practice will actually benefit us down the line. I'm hoping. But for sure, seeing other people compete, you just get hungry to get out there. So I think the girls are fired up and ready to get going, and get a little tested out there.
You fly a lot, whether it's with the indoor, now it's going to be with the beach. When you travel and you're packing your carry-on bag, what are maybe 2 or 3 of your must-have items you have to have with you when you fly?
Like personal items?
Personal items, team items, you name it.
Okay, well, team items is really long because it's all the official gear and stuff. Mm-hmm. I always travel with really good headphones for my flight. I like having those on. And I also actually have one thing that always goes with me is a little Swedish mascot that's been with me since I first started playing on the national team in 92 or something like that. I got it as a gift when I made the national team, and it's been with me on every single journey across the world.
We might have to ask when we do travel with the Wahine on the indoor side in the fall, if this mascot can maybe make a special appearance next to a broadcast, possibly. Could that happen, you think?
No, I don't think anyone knows about it, actually. I don't know how official this little thing is, but it is. For me, it is.
Speaking of beach volleyball, Coach, when we saw the preseason poll come out, you folks were ranked number 5. That's where you guys are right now. It's been fluctuating between 5 and 6. Same as the indoor. Do you take any? What kind of stock? Is it important about a preseason poll, or just sort of kind of where teams are slated when coaches vote?
Yeah, for me right now, I saw we just got dropped one spot from 5 to 6 today, if I'm not mistaken, and we haven't even competed, so that should tell you something. It's not. I don't think it's very important for us right now where we're at. We need to get out there and compete, and then we'll see where we're at. That's more important, like the competition itself, to kind of rank us and see where we are.
Last year, Hawaii Athletics did a video series called Bose Kitchen, where coaches and players showcase some of their cooking skills. One of your indoor players, Jolie Rasmussen, showed how she made an apple pie. I don't know if she's been able to showcase those skills or the fruits of her labor for you, for the rest of the players on the team. If you were asked to be on this video series, what would you be making? What would be your go-to dish?
Okay, well, I would have to go with something somewhat Swedish. So I guess I would do like a salmon dish, probably salmon in the oven in a cream sauce with cheese, cream cheese sauce.
That sounds good. That sounds very good, Coach. We've been in this pandemic for a little over a year now. When it comes to recruiting, whether it's indoor, whether it's beach, or if you have crossover players that do both, how tough has it been to recruit during a pandemic?
It's pretty hard because we all on the staff really like to see people in person. You know, you just get so much more out of seeing someone playing live. You see how they interact with teammates, how they listen to the coach in timeouts, how they warm up, how they walk on the court, how they walk off the court. All those things are really important to us. And those are those aspects that we can't really see right now. So we try to keep updated with what we can, watch as much videos that we can that come in, and keep in touch with the ones that we are at this point allowed to do. And just trying to have feelers out and ice wherever we can. But it's definitely tough, and I hope we get out in person this summer.
It's game week. 4 matches in 2 days this week, and you guys go up to Northern California. You're going to Davis. You're taking on Stanford and Cal, and also UC Davis. For this first competition, what are you looking for from your 5 flights?
Well, first of all, you hope that you'll feel good about the pairings that we've done, that lands and that feels right. And other than that, I'm excited for the girls that they get to go out and compete. And I think that's also what I want from them, for them to go out and compete and play hard. And it's our first competition. It's not going to be perfect, and it might not always look pretty yet, but just that they get to go out and compete and enjoy that moment, have fun with it.
For this program, it's been only a couple of years that this program has been around, but they've been able to win in Big West Conference for a couple of years. They were runner-up in 19, of course, last year. It was the COVID shortened season. What's it going to take for this program to get back on top and be Big West Conference champions here in 2021?
Tiff, all we can do is work hard every single day and get better. And we're working on individual skills. We're working on team skills. And that's all you can do. We just got to keep getting better, a little bit better every single day, and hopefully good things happen.
If there's an off day, if you have nothing to do, whether it's indoor related or on the beach, and you have free time, what are you doing for fun?
Well, it depends on what kind of mood I am. But my getaway is North Shore. Like if I need to just like wind down and get away, I'll just drive up to North Shore and enjoy the beauty up there and get some good food. And yeah, that's definitely a go-to. Otherwise, I just like to spend some time with friends and stuff.
There are a lot of young girls out there that are into the sport of volleyball, whether it's indoor or beach. If you had a message for them, what would it be?
Work hard. Go after your dreams. Don't give up on yourself, especially not if you're young, because there's so many late bloomers that just, grow into the game and grow into their bodies later. And do what makes you happy. If beach volleyball or volleyball makes you happy, then stay with it and give it all you can.
last one for you, Coach. This program, both the beach, but specifically the indoor, it has one of the most passionate fan bases, not just on the island, not just in the state or the country, but around the world. For the big fan base out there, and it's expansive, what would be your message to them?
That we are super excited for the fall of 2021 to be back and playing, and we're excited for the freshman class we have coming in, joining what we already have, and we're hopeful for a very, very good season in the fall. And also, if I may add, a big mahalo nui loa for all the support for all the years for this program. And if I can just mention, we just watched the movie, The Rise of the Wahine, so it just kind of hits home the history of the program. We watched it yesterday with the beach volleyball team, and it's just such an inspiration, and it really connects, just shows the special connection that women's volleyball has to this state of Hawaii. So super grateful for all the support.
Coach, this has been so much fun. We really appreciate the time you've given us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck this weekend. Best of luck this season on the beach.
Thank you, Tiff, and good to see you again. Thank you so much.
Good to see you as well, Coach. For Coach Ange, as well, the rest of us here at ESPN Honolulu, I'm Tiff Wells saying thank you for joining us here on the 25th edition of ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Talk Story. Until next time, wear that mask, be safe, and stay socially distant.